My name is Paul Cannings. I'm the pastor of Living Word Fellowship Church here in Houston, Texas. We are, as a church, committed to missions, and our focus was to commit to the Caribbean and to Africa. Well, by the grace of God, with that prayer and that commitment and that service that we were providing, we ran into Pastor Lloyd Chinn. We are committed to him because of first, his passion for Ghana. We are impressed with that passion. We're impressed with his commitment to his family and willingness to serve his family. And we're impressed with how God has equipped him through Dallas Theological Seminary to be able to go and to serve in Ghana at a level of effectiveness that will continue for years to come. So that's what attracts us to Lloyd Chinn, and we will continue to do that by hopefully one day sending a team to Ghana so that we can come alongside of him on a short-term mission trip to serve the ministry that God has blessed him to have. We want to continue to help him to build the leadership training center. We want to continue to help him so that he could properly take care of his family in an effective manner. So our commitment to Lloyd Chinn will continue because of the passion God has placed in his life, because of the commitment he has for his family, and because of his training that will impact the pastors for a long time to come. We will send material when it's needed, because we believe that as a church, God can extend our ministry, our faithfulness to carry out the Great Commission in an effective manner through Lloyd Chinn. It is a blessing to serve God in this manner.
The Chinns are just an unusual couple, and if you know them, if you know their love for the Lord, if you have ever had a chance to hear their hearts about mission, the vision that they're trying to make a reality over in Nkwanta, you can't help but fall in love with what God is doing. I believe with all my heart that God is doing an incredible work through the Chinns, the Chinn family and their ministry. Matter of fact, I saw firsthand when I had a chance to visit Ghana and I watched Lloyd and Jan in their element. It was almost as if God had called them home. Nothing is more beautiful and blessed to see individuals who find their purpose and meaning for life, to see people walk in their giftedness and to fulfill their very purpose for existing on this planet. And there's no doubt in my mind that Lloyd and Jan are fulfilling their purpose as they serve in Nkwanta, Ghana. It's a blessing to see, and to support such a mission, I believe, is central to the gospel of the kingdom. We're called, obviously, to preach a gospel to save souls, but we're also called to restore humanity, to restore society, to restore communities that are broken, to not simply preach this gospel, but to demonstrate his love and how we reach out with salvation and also with our hearts in compassionate ministry. And so those are two primary reasons as to why I believe in missions, more particularly the mission and the vision that the Chinns are partaking of. And I hope and pray that this is something that was said or something was communicated that would encourage someone to take up the same mantle that we have. I believe that what God is doing in Ghana only scratches the surface of greater things that he wants to do. And I'm just glad to be a part of it, and I trust and pray that you would be blessed to be a part of this great missional endeavor. God bless you.
I cannot tell you the joy that filled my heart when one of the sons of this church, Reverend Lloyd Chinn, and his wife Jan answered the call to full-time mission service in Ghana. When Lloyd came to this church and was baptized here, he was simply a layperson who was just committed to making a difference in communities and in neighborhoods. He served in this church. His wife Jan grew up here, and then he became a deacon. Well, he wasn't there long before he acknowledged what I think a lot of us knew who had watched him, his calling to ministry. He had a challenge though. How would he define that calling to ministry in his specific context of serving? You see, in the traditional black church, the call to preaching is a call to the pulpit. And there are many who have erroneously taught over the years that a call to preach is automatically a call to pastor. Well, Lloyd felt like that was something that was not for him, at least not at this moment. And so we prayed about what it was that God wanted him to do. But what he also recognized was that a call to preach was a call to preparation. And this calling to ministry drove him to Dallas Theological Seminary. We would talk often, and Lloyd would say to me, Pastor, he says, I don't know what God wants me to do because I don't see myself in the pulpit. I don't see myself pastoring. As a matter of fact, there are a whole lot of times I don't even want to preach. But I love teaching, and I love discipling. I love building in people's lives. And I told him over and over again, I said, Lloyd, the Lord will show you what he wants you to do. Well, listen, when he called me after being exposed to missions, I mean true mission work, and especially in Ghana, I can't tell you what that meant to me, to know that God had answered his prayers and defined for him ministry in a way that fit with his spirit. He went to Ghana on a short-term trip and took several of our members, including one of our senior deacons, Deacon Tibbs, and several other deacons and leaders. Deacon Green and others went. They climbed up that mountain in Shari, went up into the Nkwanta region, and Lloyd shared his vision. They came back inspired and on fire about the work that Lloyd was doing in Ghana. Lo and behold, Lloyd came back and said, that's where God wants me to be. And so we made a commitment to be his sponsoring church, to be his home church, and to make sure that they got out into that mission field. And they have done a tremendous job. We've had several teams go over there thus far, and we look forward to seeing several more. But what has inspired me has been his commitment to learn a new language and to see his children, Joey and Jeremy, to watch them grow in their walk with the Lord and what God is doing with them. To see his wife, Jan, and to watch her grow in the area of ministering to women and encouraging her husband. And so when I got a chance to go over there and see the work that they were doing firsthand and to speak to the pastor of the church that they were worshiping in and to meet the translators that were working with him and people who were helping him with his language skills and going into the marketplaces in Accra and in Kumasi. And it just brought back so many memories of this man who heard the call of God, didn't know how to define it, but he walked by faith, trusting that God was going to show him. And so now we see the work that he's doing. We see the work to train leaders. We see the work to impact an area, a region, to touch lives and to touch future generations, to minister to children, to youth, to adults, men and women, and it's exciting. And we're blessed to be part of that. Our vision 16 years ago was to take hope to the world. And Lloyd and Jan Chin have helped us to make that a reality. Our commitment to local, national, and international ministry work to become a global local community has been fulfilled in part by the commitment of this couple. And so we want to continue to support them with our prayers, with our finances, with our encouraging words, with our presence. We want to continue to let them know that they are not out there by themselves, but they are an extension of our hands and an extension of God's heart. And the more we invest in them, I believe our greatest rewards will come in heaven, because truly we are seeing lives change through their ministry. We're going to continue to pray for them and pray with them. Lloyd and Jan, let me just send this personal message to you. I love you. I appreciate you. I appreciate your growth. I appreciate your development. I appreciate the gifts that God has deposited in you. And I'm going to tell you, like Dr. Campbell told us, my first semester at Dallas Theological Seminary. He said to those of us who were incoming students who felt sure that we had been called to seminary for that season of preparation, he told us things were going to come up that would disturb us and distract us, things that were intended to detour us from our calling. And he said, never doubt in the dark what God told you in the light. So I want to tell you that same thing. Never doubt in the dark what God told you in the light. You know where God has called you, and you have defined a new area of ministry for a generation of preachers. And I'm excited to see what God is doing. And even more than that, I'm excited to see what God is going to do through you and Jan, through Joey and Jeremy, and the thousands of lives that God enables you to touch. God bless you, and God be with you is our prayers.